Where are we? First up was I was just trying to figure out my own holiday absence in the context of everyone else's to make sure that not that I think I'll change what I'll take off, but I'm sort of gauging how much I might check in versus how much I might not check in. So my plan is the full 2 weeks, which is a little crazy because it's the start of a milestone. But I don't know. I'm curious what everyone else is doing.
Same, but the last week of this break, I will be without internet. FYI. I'll still have a cell phone, but probably won't check in at all.
Yeah, I can say mine. I'm thinking of only taking 24, 25th, and 31st first. That's kind of like where I'm at. I'm gonna keep like 3 days a week laying around. There's heavy holidays on the team, so expect low capacity for the first 2 weeks. But I'll have the updated capacity soon.
Should we make some sort of table with who will be here for us and the engineers, for like other people in the company? You know what I mean?
I have started a spreadsheet for my team. I can share it. Oh, I can create a template. I mean, it's like just the rest of the whole days. Do you think it's useful? Because they will always go through the channel. They won't be checking the spreadsheet. So if the statuses on the Slack are up to date, it should be
okay.
Okay. I'm not sure. Anybody feels otherwise?
Yeah, I don't think people will use it. I think I would say for the people who are working, we should be cautious of just saying the channel will cover for us, though, for the people who are taking off, because that's going to get potentially pretty spammy pretty quickly.
Yeah. Michelle, I have done the spreadsheet mostly for my own planning. So if I see that both ICs on source code, for example, would take the full week, and I was taking those days as well, we'd probably try to have a conversation. Are they movable to keep some sort of backup capacity? But that's why I built the spreadsheets for our own planning, not for.
I was thinking more for like if a production incident happens, but we have the on-call. So.
Right. That's why I want to be around. I don't have any. I'm still not like I'm going anywhere, and my Christmas holiday parties are usually very minute anyway. So I'm going to be 3 days a week lying around in case any P1S1 pops up. I can always pull in the right people. So. Cool. That's it for holidays, I guess.
Okay, cool. Reviewers. Oh, wait. Are we done? Can I move on? Reviewers. I talked to David last night, and we are going to, it's already been enabled now. We're on day 3. So far, no major issues have come up. So if we can make it through Thursday, Friday, and Monday, then we'll go ahead and default it on Tuesday, the 15th. With documentation. There's also a work in progress MR out there for the API. I'm less concerned about that. I feel like that's not really MVC, but also David thinks that will merge anyway before the 15th. So that's kind of where I'm drawing the line. So that's awesome. Pedro?
Yeah, I was wondering so far what we've heard feedback from others, yeah, one interesting feedback was what Andre shared in Slack about not knowing how to best use the feature. And that seems to relate to people not having a first-class way of handing off the ball to someone else, and so it's not clear where is the ball in the court. Is it on the reviewer's side or the assignee or the author's side? And so it's not entirely clear how you should use it. If you should assign yourself, or you should stay assigned, or and things like that. Anything anyone else wants to add that they've heard or read?
I haven't seen anyone say anything about it yet. I did see Kenny this morning saying the release post channel, like we could get rid of checkboxes in one of the product release post templates because you could be a reviewer and click approve, but I haven't heard anyone say, like internally, I haven't heard anyone say anything. And I don't know if people are using it or not using it. I guess we could query the production database like fairly quickly to see like how much usage it actually got.
Yeah, I think that's the first question perhaps is are people using it so far? And if not, we should try to push people to use it before we enable it. That's the whole point.
Yeah, the one thing that I think is going to be naturally confusing is not that we can't figure out a way forward, but it's something that, how does GitLab recommend we do it? Like, how are other teams expecting us to use that feature? That's why I think that's going to be a discussion to be had, probably on the development side of things, just to ensure that we have a consistent way of using it, and not one team uses it one way, another team uses it another way. So I wouldn't put that on a blocker perspective of enabling it. It's more like we need to sort it out anyways. And each team will have to figure that out on their own. So I wouldn't put that on a blocker, on a feedback for blocking the enablement. But it's something that we have to figure out on our own.
That's exactly what my thought is too. And I feel like GitLab, I spent a lot of time in the documentation section this week, so totally unrelated to code review, but GitLab recommends, we're actually a little bit opinionated on how we use our features, and recommends like best examples on how to use things. So as far as an MVC and shipping this is concerned, I feel like these are like, here's the recommended way that we suggest to use it, or this is a reviewer's feature, for example, if you wanted to do this, and kind of nudge towards a workflow. But I haven't heard any blocking feedback. And so that's kind of my focus this week.
Yeah, I agree. Are engineers in code review using it?
Can't say that I've seen that activity, but I haven't looked at their MRs. So I can't say neither yes or no. I'll check though.
Yeah, I think if we're not using it, I don't know if others
I'll
will
push
be
them.
using it.
I'll push them for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I actually don't think we have. So what you shared in Slack, Andre, I don't think I wrote it down, but I think so. Kai had also brought that up in one of our UX calls, that we don't have a first class way of doing it, of saying like, I want this person to be pinged again because they need to do something here, right? So do we have an issue for that, Kai? Did you look into that or no?
An issue for I didn't look to see if there are issues. I think we talked about the flow and how like that's going to be the big question. We sort of also talked about how teams are already solving that with the assignee field, like the way they deal with handoff, right? Because they've already had to deal with that sort of pain of handoff. And so I think we talked about I think it's a thing we need to figure out, but I think there's probably other things that we'll have to figure out.
Yeah, yeah. I'll link to the agenda item below. It was a few weeks ago, so that everyone can look into that. But yeah, I'll create an issue for it if it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just added a link to the list of MRs that are using reviewers or have used reviewers, because it has at least one reviewer set. It's not, it could have been removed, so now they won't have it there anymore, but at least we have a set of the MRs that we can take a look at how they're using it. But there are some valid ways of using it. I was just looking at the system note that we add, and the system note says requests review from, and then when you remove somebody, it says removed review request for. So it feels like by setting a reviewer, we're asking them to do a review. Once the review is complete, it should be removed. So I feel like that's one of the ways of using this, but it's not strongly enforced. So yeah, I don't know. So maybe we can set unless we receive blocker feedback, we should just enable it by the 15th.
That's what I.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I greatly appreciate that you will try to encourage engineers in code review to use it. I don't know if we've made that clear enough in the announcements in Slack that we want people to use it, or if it was just, hey, we have this. But yeah, if nothing comes up, I agree.
Michelle, are you going to be attending the next call on the development office hours right after this one?
I don't know.
Because I have a source code catch up. I'm just saying that it would be good to ping the EMs there to push for that testing out.
At the least, I can add an agenda item. That's 9 a.m.
Or
my
Slack.
time, and my son has a meeting at 9 a.m. So I don't know whether he.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'll
a
add it
message
in.
on Slack too.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good point, because keep in mind that I know reviewers has kept carrying over month after month, but like the first 1 or 2 months, there was a lot of eyes on this from all the managers, leadership, because of their use cases. So that will be interesting too. Okay, I'm going to move on to merge refs. Does anyone have anything? Yeah, okay. Merge refs has 2 problems that I'm aware of. The first is version comparison generates like a seemingly random diff. And the second is we're concerned that we're not batching diffs. For the second one, I think we are batching diffs. I'm pretty confident. Phil is the one who brought it up. So Andre, I wanted to see if you could ping him. I added a comment yesterday because I was like, I don't think that's right. I think we're doing it. So that, and then for the versions, I think hopefully we've identified a quick fix for that. Kind of talked about it yesterday. Yesterday I was very hopeful. If we can get an MR today or tomorrow, then we can enable it Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's 3 days. Yesterday I was like super hopeful that that's still possible to enable it, but now I'm not so much. So I'm less hopeful that this one ships, but I think we have a good path forward. Questions on this one?
On the batching part, I did check it. I'm seeing the requests, so I'm with you. I think we are batching them. What I wasn't able to confirm though is whether the pages are properly filled with the cursor for the next page at the end of the response. But it does say the total pages, so I'm leaning like 75% confident that it is paginating, that is batching. So should be okay.
We need a huge diff. We find a huge one.
That's what I'm trying to find on staging, because that's where I have it enabled, but I'll enable it on GDK and try it out.
Okay, cool. Okay, Kai.
Cool. I don't have anything else on merge refs. We talked about it. I'm less optimistic. I'll say that one's going to make it than Michelle is. But progress is progress. So hopefully we'll get it done early in 13.8. Which brings us to 13.8. In case you didn't know, today's the 9th. Kickoff is happening a day earlier this year because of this release because of Friends and Family Day, which means planning needs to probably be done earlier. And then the 18th begins mine and Michelle's 2 weeks of not working either, which means that if things are not figured out prior to the 17th, then things get a lot more complicated, I guess, for the first 2 weeks of the milestone anyway. So that being said, I'm going to make it a priority today and tomorrow to get through planning, which means I think probably everyone needs to make it a priority to get through planning today, tomorrow, so we can sort of lock it up by Monday, which Monday puts us at the 14th, and I imagine kickoff is due 14th or 15th. I was trying to find that issue. So really, we've got to be sort of locked in by Monday. And I think we know some of what these things are, and I know we've got prioritization tomorrow, so like that'll help sort of finish out, I think, some other things. But I would say if you've got cycles to think about it, planning should be top of mind.
Yeah,
because like all it snuck up.
Yeah, Monday sounds good. I aim for that. My question is, do we have a sync? I saw the message on Slack. Are we having a session on transient bugs? Or are we doing it as a sync?
We're short on time. If y'all want me to do an issue, we can do an async issue.
Why don't we just talk about it in planning? Well, so I imagine some of the stuff that we put in the prioritization for tomorrow are transient bugs, right? Did anyone put any of those in the list for tomorrow's session?
I haven't added mine, so not yet.
We're
Should
very
we?
behind.
Yeah. What you, sorry, Kai, you meant adding only transient bugs or adding anything else other than transient bugs?
I meant, did anyone add any of their 5 that they put in? Did anyone add one as one of their like 5 things for tomorrow?
I don't think I did. Let me check.
Or if I did or not. I think I'll do a heading section in the planning issue, and we'll just call it transient bugs, and we can link to the epic, and then we can sort of talk about because some of them are already listed for 13.8. So I'll put that together. I'll make it.
Yeah, I would recommend that, and we can have a thread specifically to discuss on that issue, the transient bugs, because I feel like limiting those 5 issues to transient bugs would be too limiting, but we still have to schedule them somehow. So having those 2 conversations will be useful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can I go
if
next?
anyone wants to, sorry, just one little thing. If anyone wants to bring any of the transient bugs to the prioritization session tomorrow, I think that's also good, because ideally we will be talking in terms of the impact that it has, how many people we think are affected by it, and how bad it is, how severe, and we have to balance everything in our plates with that. So I think it's still useful if anyone feels we have an issue that is actionable, right? That's the point.
Yeah, I agree. I just wouldn't limit it to those, but you can totally bring some. Yeah, absolutely. Right, moving on for the sake of time. Just a heads up, I was having an update today, and I saw that this particular issue is at risk of slipping. And I noticed that the front end work is pretty much ready, waiting on the backend implementation. But I see that I think Gary is on that issue, and Gary has been pulled up to the merge ref. So I think this is a side effect of the merge ref focus. Not sure. Michelle, you might have some more details on there, but it just feels like it's definitely at risk because the front end is going on parental leave tomorrow. So if we do require some integration, I can find some backup capacity. last minute if we need to.
I thought this issue actually didn't require backend, so I actually stopped tracking this issue.
Ah, it has
Does
Gary
it?
assigned.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
assigned
it
it
has.
to him and then we talked, I thought it was
Uh-huh.
this issue. I assigned it to him. We talked about that actually it can be solved on the front end and back end isn't needed. And then at that point, I removed it from my list.
Okay, there
Where we
might
need.
be. I think we do need some backend changes because the endpoint does not support setting a message with the apply request.
Okay. I will take a look at this, but that's why I assigned Gary merge refs. It's because this one I thought dropped off of his plate. And so I'll check and see where backend is needed. But yeah, this will probably slip.
Right. The good news is that the front end effort is very light because it's basically just making sure that the endpoint matches. So if it's just like a wrap up, I can find someone on the front end last minute to wrap it up if it's ready on time. But it definitely felt like it needed a bit of a pair of eyes. So I'm glad that you're taking a look. Thanks.
Does it? Yeah, just interested. It looks like Gary and Jacques talked, and it reads like it doesn't need backend. There's a thread in the MR.
Yeah, I'm catching up. I might. I don't see that discussion though.
I just linked it for you.
Oh, at the other tab. Sorry. All right, but we'll sort it out after outside. We don't have to discuss it right now. Regardless, I feel like. Anyway, I don't want to waste everyone's time. I'll catch up and see if we need to sync up. If it's just front end, we'll wrap it up. If it's not, then we need to have some backup there.
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
That's everything. And we're time and on time-ish. All right. Well, everyone enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, rest of your week. We'll talk again later and tomorrow and a lot, I'm sure, over the next few days.
Yep, absolutely.
Have a good one.
Bye.